Here's a showcase of the effects I've made in my quest to make videos like History Marsh, Kings and Generals and Epic History TV. I'll break down how I was able to make them, including the software I use, my 8 main plugins, the best Fusion nodes I've come across, as well as loads more tips like making free highlighted arrows and this clashing sword effect. Let's start with software. I believe you need 3 types to make decent quality history videos, one each for illustration, animation and editing. They can be separate if you're using Adobe, but in my case I'm trying to teach free methods, so I use GIMP for illustrating and Davinci Resolve for the other 2. It's also worth having specific mapping software to speed up your workflow, and I have another 3 apps in mind. I tend to use Incarnate as it's the quickest for making really cool battle maps and you can just stamp on different assets. Wonderdraft is also a great choice, especially if you want a paper-styled map. On the other hand, if you prefer satellite images, then QGIS is the best choice to get high quality photos of any region. So now we've covered software, I'll move on to the 8 plugins I use. My top one is Magic Zoom by Mr. Alex Tech. I usually drag it onto an adjustment clip for a very easy way to focus on parts of my screen. Magic Animate is another great effect to transition icons in and out. My next most used plugin is actually an entire starter pack you can get from Video Editor Studio. It's really useful with things like progression bars, highlights, pointers and animated text, so I would encourage you to go and grab it to level up your videos. Number 4 is Just Border by William Justice. Again, really quick and simple to add with a lot of flexibility to change the colour, size and shadow. Number 5 is Picture in Picture Pro by Patrick Sterling. It's a great tool to drag onto any footage you want to stand out. You can change its outline shape and give it a texture, ideal for showing any video overlays. Another one by Patrick is Proto V2, for anywhere you need a nice glow effect, like outlining countries or even for army compositions. This next one is for vertical content, and that is Safe Zone by the Creative Herd. Instead of having to guess where your video may be cut off by app overlays, this highlights the region where your content will be hidden and where it will be visible. My final one at number 8 is this Essential Arrow plugin. It's basically an animated line or arrow which you can shape to any scene that you want. Add multiple points, change its animation time, ease the movements in or out, and customize the arrow types. Now don't worry, all the software and plugins I just mentioned will be linked in the description. The next part of this video will briefly cover the Fusion nodes, which ones I found most useful, and layering within the Fusion page itself. This should be your standard view within Fusion, and the main control you should know is Shift Spacebar, which brings up the tool menu. From here you can search for any tool, so if I want to move an object, you can search for Transform, and one of the plugins I use is also available here, so you can type Proto V2 and add it to your nodes. A quicker way of accessing that is just by using the hotbar below your footage, so you've got the Merge node here, Transform node and a bunch of other useful ones. My favourite and most used nodes would be the Polygon node, since it's great as a mask, as well as Fast Noise on the left. I've already shown you how to use this for border transitions, and here is another really cool effect you can make. First, drag Fast Noise onto your output line. In the inspector, increase the detail and contrast a little bit, and then change the scale. Now increase the seeth rate by a fraction, and you'll see you've just made a really easy cloud cover effect. Layering in Fusion is really easy as well. The only thing you need to remember is whatever you want to show up on top needs to be added to the right. So if you're animating a battle and you want one unit to be destroyed, put this one to the left with your victorious unit placed to its right. This means when that unit goes down, your second one can move over it to show that it's still in the fight. If you want to know more about how the units shake and move across the battlefield, consider subscribing to get updated on my next video which will cover this. Now, some of you requested a free version of Easy Arrows, so I'm going to do just that and run through how to make it using the Essential Arrow plugin. Once it's downloaded, drag it onto your timeline and extend it to where you want. In the inspector, you can change its properties, so I want to increase its thickness, remove the starting arrow, and change the end arrow type as well. Then swap the animation curve from linear to easing and adjust the in-out expression. I'm also going to increase the animation time. All that's left to do is align the arrow to whatever path you want to give the basic effect. To get it looking even better, you can lower the opacity to 50 and then swap the composite mode to add. Personally, I think this is a really nice looking effect, lots to customize, and the arrow auto orients to the path, which saves a lot of time. The last way I found to improve this is making it appear out of nowhere. To do that, you'll need to go into the Fusion page of the effect and open the essential arrow grouping. From there, click on the merge node at the bottom and add a polygon to it. Once you've drawn a rough shape, you'll see it now excludes everything outside the polygon, so be sure to click invert to fix that. Finally, raise the value of the soft edge to make the effect more gradual, and that will give you something exactly like Easy Arrows, except 100% for free. The other effect I promised to show you was these clashing swords, and that's quick to do as well. First, you'll need an image of a sword, and you can find that on websites like Pixabay. Then import them into your Fusion page and drag them onto the output line. You'll need to add a transform node to each image and keep it selected. When you're ready, move your playhead to where you want the swords to start moving. Our first change is moving the pivot point to the hilt of the sword, so the image rotates around it. It's represented by this green X, so try to move it to the bottom of the image. It will move as you try to adjust the pivot, but just keep going until it lines up. Next, adjust the center coordinates to position it where you want. Then set your first angle keyframe, with the sword pointing outwards. Move forwards around 13 frames and keyframe the angle again. Move it to where you want the sword to end up. Move another 5 frames forwards, but this time turn the angle back by 1 or 2 degrees. Finally, move 5 more frames and return it to its original position. This makes it seem a bit more realistic, like the swords are rebounding from hitting each other. Repeat this with the other sword so it looks like they are clashing. You can make the movement a bit more bouncy and less abrupt by opening the spline section. Select your keyframes and press smooth. A quick tip while we are here as well. These white markers on the timeline indicate a keyframe, so if you don't see these, you might be selecting the wrong node. A quick way to adjust the position of a keyframe without affecting its value is by pressing Shift and dragging it. Even if I move up and down, the value will remain the same, and when I deselect Shift, the value will move freely. Remember, you only have to keyframe this once, and then copy and paste the transform node for later. The last things I have to share with you are 2 problems I found within the program. If you've run into these, then hopefully I can fix them for you. The first is when you've been working in Fusion with your effects, and you realise you need to extend your scene. You drag the end of the clip to the right, but find once your play slider passes the original endpoint, your footage no longer shows up. It took me a while to figure this out, and the problem lies back in the Fusion page. Click on your media nodes which are seeing the issue and go to the inspector. Pay attention to this green loading bar, as it's only registering up to here. Now see this loop button. If you select it, the green bar will update and your media will remain visible for the whole clip, even past the original point. It's such an easy fix, and I feel like this has caused me a lot of grief, so hopefully you won't have to go through that. Another common issue I get is glitches within my renders, and I found the reason for this is in the export page. See, when you try to render a video, you save it to a file location, but sometimes that's almost full or even shows it will exceed the current storage. Obviously, this will cause a problem, as you're trying to shove a video into a space it won't fit. Now, you can do things like reducing the resolution from 4K to 1080p, and that might just save you enough space. But the best thing to do is either free up some storage or save your video in a new location. That tends to fix the problem for me. If you've made it this far in the video, I'm genuinely impressed and I'd love to thank you personally, so please drop a shield emoji to let me know.